What's good, guys? It's Luca here. In my last video, a lot of you guys expressed interest in my settings, so I'm going to show you guys those today. If you guys are coming from my stream, you guys know that I like everything to have an explanation, every setting, every attachment, every gun that I'm using. I like to know exactly what it does as much as I can, and have an explanation for it with it data backing it if possible. So in the video, I'm just gonna go through, give you guys everything I know about these settings, and tell you why I'm using the setting that I'm using. You kind of like what JGod does with his videos. He'll break down the guns and the attachments and compare them to other guns and everything. If you guys don't want that, if you just want the settings, I'll have them at the very end of the video so you guys can just scroll through and see what I'm using if you don't want that full explanation. But if you do, that's what the remainder of the video is going to be, and I hope you guys enjoy. All right, so starting with the display settings, I play on display mode full screen. One of the reasons for this is because full screen gives you a higher frame rate. You get more frames when you're playing on full screen as opposed to the other modes. Another reason that you guys might not have heard of is last season it was discovered that full screen borderless gave you more aim assist than full screen. And this was crazy to hear about. I tested it and it was true. I got more aim assist on full screen borderless than I did on full screen. I ended up still playing full screen though last season because even though I got more aim assist on full screen borderless, I was getting aim assist more off target with borderless than I was with full screen. And I really didn't like that. It made it harder to get on target because your aim would start slowing down so far off target that you have to pull really hard on your stick, and its aim assist is literally working against you in those cases. Uh, and when someone's close to you moving around, trying to track them and follow them was way harder because I'd be getting aim assist behind them. I just really didn't like it. So I ended up playing full screen last season. This season, it feels like the opposite. Literally day one of the season, I don't know what they did with the game, but full screen now feels kind of like what full screen borderless did last season. And I really didn't like that. I tried switching to full screen borderless. The issue with full screen borderless is just that the aim assist is weaker now than on full screen. Also, you lose aim assist more often. It's less sticky. I feel like even though you're getting it more off target, it's still just worth it just because the aim assist is more consistent and stronger on full screen. So I just decided to get used to it. Even though it does mess with me sometimes, especially like I said, trying to get on target is hard when aim assist is working against you in those cases. I feel like it's worth it for the extra aim assist. And this is my monitor, graphics card. All these settings are pretty much just set up the way that they are to get the maximum amount of frames that I can. My brightness, this kind of fluctuates based on what I have my monitor settings on. This is another thing I'll explain to you guys is input latency. I'm sure you guys have heard of that term. Is something you want to be as low as possible. You want your game to be as responsive as it can be to the inputs that you're giving it from your controller or whatever input device you're using. Anything that is introducing more input lag to your system is bad. You don't want that if you can help it. So your monitor is one thing that has input latency that you can reduce. Every monitor is going to be different. And what I did is I just messed around with the settings. I went online, I talked to some people to see what they found to be lower input lag. They have like devices to test this, where it's like a camera that points at your monitor, and based on when you put the input in, it checks how long it takes for that to register on the screen and measures it. So sharpness and contrast and brightness on your monitor, not the settings in game, but on your actual monitor, will affect that input latency, and that's going to be something that's different for everyone. You just have to test. Generally, though, the higher your sharpness and the higher your contrast, the more input lag you'll be introducing. So try to keep those lower if you can. Obviously, you want it to be up to some level, but don't have it too high. You guys can also do some investigating online, talk to some people, see if there's already anything out there on your particular monitor as to what will give you the lowest input latency. Another latency thing, I have this on enabled plus boost. I'll talk about that later when I go through the Nvidia settings. My quality settings, 120 affected. Sure, you guys know this gives you more aim assist when you're playing on scale aim assist with FOV disabled. This will also give you less visual recoil. So like what you see when your gun is bouncing, it'll be less. Also, if you're playing on a lower field of view or if you're playing on independent, you're literally going to have to pull your stick down farther or more than someone who's playing on affected. Like if you're playing on independent or 80 FOV, you're going to have to pull your stick down like, let's say, 5 millimeters to control the recoil on a gun, whereas I'll have to pull it down 1 millimeter because I'm playing on 120 affected. So it makes it easier to control recoil and better aim assist. This is why everyone uses these settings, or almost everyone. So right here, this is another setting that I found to contribute to aim assist. Before I was playing on all these settings on low because I was told that when your frames are higher, you get more aim assist, and that's generally true. But I don't know why it is that when I play on these settings high, I don't know which setting it is in particular. I haven't like tested them one by one. I tested them as a group. But when I play on these settings higher, I get more aim assist, even though I'm getting lower frames. If you guys are on a lower end PC, you can try messing with this, see if your PC can handle it, see if you can feel the aim assist in game, and just see if it's justified for your particular build to play on the higher settings. Going through here. And the rest of these settings are pretty much just to reduce or increase the frame rate as much as possible. The caching shadows will increase your frames by a tiny bit. Moving on to the interface settings. These three are the only ones that I know of that are even relevant. This will push your HUD out a little bit so it's not like close to the center of your screen, so it won't be obscuring anything that you're looking at. Square minimap for larger minimap. You just literally see more. It's objectively better. And the rest of these, I don't even know what half of these do. I know they added new settings here a while ago. I'm not familiar with them, but this is what I have them on, pretty much just the default. Audio is another thing I really wanted to talk about. In the last patch notes, they announced that they were investigating the audio, especially regarding footsteps. And that was really nice to hear because ever since the Vanguard integration, and as the Vanguard integration has been out, like longer and longer, it just feels like the audio is just decreasing in quality. I don't know what it is about that Vanguard integration or about the game that's making the audio worse, but it's just getting progressively worse. You're hearing things less, like people tack sprinting right next to you, you're not hearing. People regular sprinting right next to you, you're not hearing. It's just getting really, really bad. And I am a person who has never complained about audio in this game in the past. I played on console before, and the audio was always super clear. It was always so easy to tell where someone was based on audio. You could hear the footsteps really well, and just over time, it feels like that's getting worse and worse and worse. So I'm glad they finally addressed it. Hopefully, there's a fix for it soon. But another thing I wanted to say about the audio is regardless of what the settings are here, everyone is different biologically, and there are going to be settings that are better for me than for you. There might be other settings that are different for you just because biologically you hear certain frequencies better than others. That's why people like this setting isn't the same for every player. Some people play on home theater, some people play on boost, boost high, boost low. Like there's no one setting that everyone plays on. It's not like 120 FOV that almost all the top players are playing on, or scale aim assist with FOV disabled. Like, this is just different for everyone. And I know you guys might not want to hear that because you do just want to copy and paste the settings if that's what you want to do. But unfortunately, that's the way it is. So I'm going to try to give you guys an explanation for all of these so you know what each of these settings does so you can try to test it yourself. For the audio mix, it's you just have to like play with it, try to listen for like footsteps, audio during like precision airstrikes and stuff, and like take note of that to see what will help or what you can and can't hear on certain audio modes. Dialog volume, this is pretty much only important for two things: when people are calling in UAVs and when someone is landing on you. If I could turn this off for all other instances, I would, because those are the only two that are important. I don't want the announcer screaming in my ear when there's a fire sale or when there's a precision airstrike nearby. I want to listen for footsteps. I don't want my ears exploding because the announcer's screaming right in them. The effects volume I have at 100. Unfortunately, there's no way to separate actual in-game sound effects, like important ones, like footsteps and gunshots, from miscellaneous sound effects that are irrelevant to the game. One of those is like when a fire sale starts, you get that huge, loud cha-ching in your ears that you really don't need to hear at all. And it lasts for like 5 seconds, and it's so loud, you pretty much can't hear anything else during that time. You can use that to your advantage, though. Like I've tried when I do this a lot when a fire sale starts. If I'm about to push someone, I'll push during that time because I know they're hearing that super loud cha-ching. So they won't be able to hear my footsteps when I'm coming up to them. I just really wish that they would separate those audio elements, like so that you can mute them if you want, because they really are irrelevant to the game. This is the rest of the settings here. That's it for the audio, the controller settings. This is what I have. I play on default because I have my two back paddles bound to A and B. And my B button is my crouch or slide. So I actually slide cancel with my paddle. My dead zone, I have it on 0.02 because I like it to be responsive. I don't like to feel like I have to move my stick a ton to get the in-game response that I'm wanting. I play 6.6 because it's high enough to where I feel like I can do everything fast enough, but it's low enough to where my shots are more consistent. I feel like with higher sensitivities, your shot is going to get less consistent the higher you go, especially in this game where you lose aim assist so much. On higher sensitivity, losing aim assist is going to be way worse than on a lower sensitivity. It's a lot easier to control recoil and track people without aim assist on a lower sense versus on a higher sense. One-time sensitivity multiplier, and this is another setting that I tested that I found affected your aim assist. So I know JGod released a video a while ago saying that with this setting on, you got more aim assist. But I actually found the opposite, and when I have it off, I feel like I get more aim assist. And this might be just because, like, I talked to you guys about the other settings that appear to affect aim assist. This might be because JGod's other settings were different. And based on his particular settings, he having this setting on gave him more aim assist. This game is really weird, very poorly optimized, so many weird bugs and stuff that you got to feel out the interactions. But this is what I found gave me more aim assist. This is one of the settings where if I turn it off and on, I can feel the difference immediately with the aim assist. And dynamic, another thing regarding aim assist, I'm sure you guys heard since the beginning of the game, dynamic will give you slightly more aim assist than the other response curve types. Controller vibration disabled because I don't want my controller vibrating when I'm trying to control recoil. It'll be harder to control recoil if your controller is shaking while you're shooting at someone. Standard for most aim assist. This is one I'm going to explain if you guys don't know. Having this disabled will literally give you more aim assist. And a big thing is if you have this setting enabled, if a target is like 120 meters away from you, I think that was the value. It might be basically with this enabled at a distance, you will stop getting aim assist. Even with this setting disabled, at a certain distance away from you, you will stop getting aim assist if the target is a certain distance away from you. But that distance is a lot farther away from you with this setting disabled versus enabled. But the drawback with this setting is the what I talked about earlier, where you're getting aim assist off target. This will increase that effect. I tried playing with this enabled after I noticed that effect with the full screen versus full screen borderless, but having this disabled is just too good. The aim assist is way more consistent. You lose aim assist a lot more with this setting enabled. So I just keep it enabled, and I know most other players do. Contextual tap, obviously. Uh, the ammo plate behavior, I do apply all, even though I do play claw on my right side. I play claw only when I'm like not shooting. If I go to shoot someone, I'll actually unclaw and shoot with my pointer finger. Um, but I like it. I like it on apply all, so I can like close doors and interact with other things while I'm running and plating. Are the Nvidia settings that I have. So the only really important one here, I mean, these are all important for some reason, but the low latency mode on, that's important because if you put it on ultra, people have reported that they get lower frames and actually more input lag. And the in-game setting will actually override this setting anyway. So having enabled plus boost in-game on the low latency mode that I talked about earlier will override this setting as long as this is actually on. If this is off, then that setting in-game won't do anything. And I'll just scroll through those real fast for you guys, and that's it. These are all just so that I get better frames in game. So yeah, if you guys have any questions on any of these settings, just let me know. Drop a comment. I'll try to respond as well as I can in the comments to all the questions. And let me know what you guys think of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and right after this will be just a brief run through of the settings for those that don't want to hear the explanation behind them. And thanks, guys. I appreciate you. Like and subscribe. Come hang out at my Twitch channel. It's LVKTTV. I hope to see some of you guys there.